Mike Irwin, Decatur Digg.
Bill, how are you?
Great. We're down here at your makeshift greenhouse.
This is our germination room. This is where the seeds start from seed to seedling, and from here to transplant. We're getting ready to move some of this into my greenhouse and let them get a little bigger, and when the weather warms up, they go into the ground.
Decatur Digg, tell us what the program's all about.
Decatur's Growing Gardeners is a program that was started, this was our third year. It is a program to reach people with employment barriers, whether it's low education, criminal background, whatever, and try to teach them how to use vegetable gardening to feed themselves and perhaps stretch whatever income they've got, either through selling vegetables to us or on their own, and to avoid having to buy vegetables in season at the grocery store. They can grow their own.
It's a great program. I know you guys have had a lot of community support.
We have got quite a list of community support. This year we're getting into the schools in the summer, not summer school, but the summer youth program at 6 schools, Sue?
6,
Just this morning we put in a garden at Parsons and expanded garden beds they had at Durfee, over to the old Garfield School building. We've got one at Garfield Montessori out in South Shores. That was put in last year and it went real well. So the schools are interested. We're putting in garden beds at the YMCA for their Camp Sokia. We put one in a couple of weeks ago. We got about 5 more to put in there, so it's going to be a big program.
Guys are busy. We're going to do a little tour down here of your germination room.
That'll be fun.
Kind of helping you with this.
Sue Him.
Yeah.
She's standing back here.
Okay.
So
let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Sue, you're with the program?
Yes.
And how's it going for you?
I think it's going very well. I think we're in a position to really do a lot of expanding this year, which is exciting. I mean, the first year we got started in 2009, we grew a fair number of vegetables, but we ended up just donating them to food pantries, Northeast Community Fund and Good Samaritan Inn and some others. And last year we really started selling vegetables as well at the Richland Farmers Market, and we had our own garden stand at Union and El Dorado, and we'll be selling otherwise this year. And as Mike said, hope to get some of our people that we'll be working with involved with growing their own, managing their own small gardens and doing their own selling as well.
And how did you get involved with the Digg program, Sue?
Well, I guess I was one of the co-founders. I'm the president of Digg now, and the program actually kind of grew out of a committee of the Decatur Jobs Council, which has been around for a few years more than Digg has been around. And the idea was to try to get something going that would benefit the community as a whole, but also, as Mike said, to particularly help people who are unemployed or underemployed, have barriers to employment, and perhaps help them in particular with doing something that's more an entrepreneurial type of activity rather than going out and getting a 9-to-5 job.
Yes. Kind of an alternate opportunity.
Right.
So what are we going to see here in the germination room, Sue?
We have started, we have actually a little germination chamber, an enclosed chamber back there where the seeds are actually start life, I guess, and until they're actually sprouted. And then once they get out of the ground and turn green, then we move them out of that chamber and under the lights here. And this is the basement of the Digg and Decatur Family Refuge are sharing this building. And actually Decatur Family Refuge owns the building, and they're turning it into a homeless shelter for families, emergency shelter for homeless families. But in the basement here we're starting our seeds, and we're going to be using the certified kitchen, soon to be certified kitchen here in the building when we start doing cooking classes, canning and preservation and vegetable classes, that sort of thing.
Can you and Mike give us a little tour?
You bet.
Since we are at this end of the room, we'll start on this table. This is tomatoes we have. We have 5 different varieties of tomatoes we're growing. These are just 2 flats of them. These are onions, bunching onions. What are they called? Evergreen hardy white bunching onions. We order our seeds from Johnny's, Park Seed Company, and Harris
We have some from Baker Creek.
Baker Creek.
Which are
And
heirloom seeds.
these are big commercial seed companies for commercial growers. These aren't like Burpees and seed catalogs you get in the mail.
Mike, how did you choose the tomato varieties?
We chose from experience a little bit and from advice from David McLaughlin out at Richland, the horticulture professor out there, who has developed a course for us called Urban Farm School. It's a non-credit course. This is the second year for it. And he gives a basic understanding of gardening, fertilizers, pests, a little bit on marketing, and this type of thing. It's a very interesting program.
And what was his recommendation about tomato varieties, for example?
Well, we try to grow organic as much as possible, and he suggested some of the varieties that do best. And last year we discovered that a breed of tomato called Sun Gold is a real big seller. It's an orange cherry tomato. And we found people buying a pound of those at farmer's market in the morning and come back and buy another pound before they went home because they ate them all while they were walking around the farmer's market. So we're going to grow a lot of those. Roma tomatoes especially are big sellers. A lot of people are making their own tomato pastes and canning, and Aroma is a very good tomato for that. So that's how we decided to grow Romas.
I see.
Slicing tomatoes we're kind of falling back on just a little bit because everybody and their brother grows the big round sandwich tomato. So there's no sense in flooding the market and trying to compete with everybody. We're trying to be a little bit selective and find a little niche. So that is one of the things.
And then how about your decision on your onions?
Onions, again, it was just we went through the catalog and looked at the description and what is best suited for the area, what the customers asked for last year. We have yet to buy our field onions, the big round sandwich onions, slicing onions. What we're growing here is the bunching onions, or what my dad used to call a table onion, just your salad onion. So that is just kind of what seems to look best in the descriptions from the catalogs.
Sure. And if a viewer wanted to set up a growing table like you've got here at Digg, they could make this kind of setup.
This is just fluorescent shop lights. These are the longer ones because we got these tables from Kevin McSherry from Ground Up Landscaping Service. He donated to us a commercial greenhouse, which we have to put up. But we rescued the tables that he was going to burn. He's just going to trash them. So we brought them down here, and these lights tend to fit the tables the best. So a licensed electrician recommended this is what we use. We're going to have to get him back and double up the lights. We don't have enough of them down here.
And you keep the lights on how long per day?
18 hours a day. They're on a timer. They shut off between midnight and 6 in the morning. So anytime we're down here to work, the lights are on.
Want to show us what else is down the line?
Sure, come on down. And tomatoes, now these are all tomatoes, I'm sorry. 4 different varieties. These were planted on the 11th of April. And you can see how well they're doing. They pop right up. These are ready to be transplanted into 4-inch pots so that they can do a little better, and we'll move those to the greenhouse. I put a greenhouse up in my backyard, just a small one, until we can get our big one underway so we can use it. And more tomatoes. Come on down. Here's where we have doubled up.
You got a double row here.
Right. One set of lights was on another table that we decided we're not going to use until later, and we'll get more lights in. Here we have eggplant, peppers, we have herbs. Over here we've got more cabbage and more eggplant. We're growing a lot of Asian and Indian vegetables this year, and we grew some last year. Vasuda Pinamajaru is the environmental planner for the city, and she told us there is a big Indian population in Macon County, engineers and doctors, and they had to go to Towanda up around Bloomington to get the vegetables they like. Well, that's a 120-mile round trip for them. So she suggested we grow them here, which we did, and we had very good success last year. So we're going to really double up next year, or this year, and try to do even more. We're going to be selling some of our vegetables to the ADM Media Kitchen. We are going to sell to the Ethnic Market in Bloomington. The grower up there wants to retire. His son is going to grow some, but not on as big a scale, so we're going to try to pick up the slack. We are going to start next week with the Summer Youth Employment Program. We're going to have 5 or 6 young people, and they're going to help me build our infrastructure in our garden up behind the driver's license facility on North Charles Street. We're going to build arbors and trellises, because a lot of these vegetables that the Indian people like are on vining crops, and they grow best when they hang down instead of just growing on the ground.
See?
And we discovered last year that growing them on the ground, you tend to lose a lot of the crops just in the foliage. I just couldn't find them. By the time I did, they were way too big.
And what sort of space do you have at that location, Mike?
We had about an acre last year, and we talked to the man that owns the other end of the field this spring, and he's going to let us farm that one. So we'll have almost 2 acres out there.
Wow.
Plus, there's a gentleman who has allowed us to use about 10 acres of land that he's got at McKinley and Monroe, just a little west of that. It's pretty rough though. We're going to have to do a lot of work in there. It's all overgrown. It's never been built on. So that's going to be a long-term project. And then we've got, what, Sue, 9 neighborhood gardens?
At least.
Yeah, at least. We haven't kept a real close count this year because it's grown so fast.
Okay.
Like I said, at the schools, at the YMCA, 6 gardens that we had last year. We've got 3 lots over around Old King's Orchard that we just acquired. Those are our lots, and we're going to do quite a bit of work there.
Then who supervises or directs the farming activity, Mike?
That's my job. I am the project manager with a lot of help, a lot of volunteer help, the youth, the Summer Youth Employment Program, and just a lot of my own time.
So the folks who are trying to participate in your program as a job opportunity, they learn from you.
They can learn from me. What we tried to teach last year in the Summer Youth Employment was not just gardening, but basic job skills. How to come to work on time, dress for the job, the right attitude, this type of thing. Because many of these people have never held a job before. So, gardening, it's low tech. There's not a lot of math or science or any of this involved that they can't just pick up on the fly. So we try to do that for them and hope that if not just the gardening, just the work ethic itself will set in.
Mike, if a viewer is interested in getting involved with Digg, either for a job opportunity or as a volunteer, how do they contact Digg?
They can call Sue. What's the number here? 422-9906. That's the number for the Digg office. They can come to a meeting every Thursday at 1:30 right here. We have our meetings, or they can drop by the gardens. If they see me working out, come on by and stop in, and I'll be glad to talk with you.
Great.
Works.
Yeah, these peppers are definitely ready to go into pots. See how tall and proud they stand?
We're on this evening, Thursday. 10:30.
Okay.
Tonight's program is the labor rally. We are one. It was held here in Decatur.
Okay.
When's this going to be on, Bill? This is where everything starts. This is our germination chamber. This is polycarbonate plastic. It is UV friendly. That means UV rays will go through it. It's what the plants need. We built this last year out at Richland at the Urban Farm School. We're not going to build one this year. They've developed a different, a lot easier one that just goes in a fish tank. So the size can be adapted. Again, real high tech, tape handles. We put the seeds in And this is labor intensive. One little seed in each cell. Water it down good. We stick it in here. It's surrounded by fluorescent lights for light, and down in the bottom we have a 75-watt incandescent light bulb for heat. And this light bulb, just the 75-watt bulb, makes it almost 80 degrees in here.
Wow.
There's a pan of water for humidity. In here right now we've got hot Asian chili peppers, and they're hot. They will set your hair on fire. Here we've got giant Italian leaf parsley, and you can see it's starting to sprout. You can see it looking pretty good there.
Okay, Mike, so you germinate the leaf parsley. So walk us through from germination what the path is for those leaf parsley.
Okay, once they get germinated, and we're going to leave these in here for a day or two more to see if more of the cells will pop. We move them over here to the table for a little while and let the root system build. Then after that, and like I said, some of these tomatoes, we will transplant those into 4-inch pots. These aren't quite 4 inches. We've got some round, but not handy. Something like that. We'll fill this with soil, potting soil. Put the plant in it, water it real good. Put these in the trays and haul them to the greenhouse. They'll sit out there, get water. As the weather warms up, we'll start to take them outside as they get towards planting size and the temperatures are right, soil temperatures, atmospheric temperature. We'll take them outside for a little while each day, a little while each longer for about a week, and that's called hardening off. So they get used to, there won't be a shock coming out of the greenhouse and straight into the atmosphere. And once that's ready, we put them in the garden.
Wow.
And that's the whole story.
And then in the garden they're harvested. And
They are tended with tender loving care. Water, mulch. Mulch will act as a barrier to keep the water from vaporizing, and so we don't have to use so much. Water is a problem for us because our gardens don't have readily accessible water, so we have to do a lot of other things.
So when the plant, for example, the parsley is matured, you harvest it, and then where does it go? How
harvest
do you market it?
Digg has a 3-prong approach to our harvest. We keep a third for the gardeners, we sell a third at farmers market, and we give a third away to food banks, Northeast Community Fund, Catholic Charities, wherever. We've found that works real well. It's kind of a motivation for the gardeners themselves to keep at it. And I plan on eating very well this summer and this fall. And later on, once the kitchen is done, we will start teaching food preservation, canning, freezing, cooking classes.
Really?
Because we discovered that young people, inner city people, their grandfathers, grandparents all garden. And the young people don't have a clue. They don't know what's going on out there. They see their grandparents knee deep in the greenery. And when they go home at night and they're eating the okra and the sweet potatoes and the tomatoes, as far as they knew, it came from the grocery store.
Yes.
But we try to reconnect that generational gap. And through this program of giving away some of the stuff they grow, or giving it to them so they can take it home and eat it, then they realize that, hey, this is a good plan.
Sure. Mike, it sounds just like a fantastic business plan to share a third.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Indian tradition of one bowl, one spoon, one community, and we share what we've got.
That's right. You have to share what you got. You can't hoard it. You have to give it out to the people who need it.
So you're giving people nutrition and knowledge at the same time, and a job opportunity.
Right. Education opportunity, because especially in the schools, so much emphasis is put on the test. Teach the test. And the schools try to introduce the gardening. The administrators don't understand, and we're talking high level, not the principals and the teachers, but the money people don't understand what kind of education there is just in gardening. There's math, there's science, botany, biology, atmospheric science, all kinds of different things they can learn. in cooking. You know, kids, you got to know your fractions if you're going to cook. So there's a lot of good lessons in gardening.
Yes. How did Mike Irwin, a retired postal worker, get involved with Digg?
This was my wife's big idea.
Dale.
Oh yeah, Dale. I had big plans for retirement of hanging out in the bars and just enjoying myself, and she said, no, you're not going to do that. She got involved in this and got me into it. I like to garden at home, putter around in the yard, and now that I've got involved in Digg, I don't know how I ever had time to hold a full-time job. So, yeah, that's how I'm here.
Well, the community's lucky to have you, Mike, and thank you for this great tour of Decatur Digg.
Quite all right.
We wish you much success.
Yeah. Actually, what I'm doing here is just an offshoot of what I was doing at the post office for years with Letter Carriers Food Drive. I was gathering up processed food and giving it to the food bank. Now I'm growing it for them.
Yes.
So, yes, it's just another way of doing things.
Plus, you're educating a whole new generation of people.
Yeah, yeah, sure am, and I enjoy that. It's quite a feeling to see the lights come on in their eyes, and all of a sudden they get it. So, you know, maybe it's selfish of me, but I get a good feeling out of it.
Mike, thanks for taking time to give us this tour. I know you're about to start a meeting here this afternoon at the Digg facility. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mike, we're here watching your crew off of St. Charles Street up by Cub Food. What are the guys doing right now?
Right now they are planting moly peppers. That's one of the varieties we've got going. We've got rainbow blend peppers they just planted earlier this morning. We've got jalapeno peppers further up here in the garden. And there's another hot chili peppers that we're going to put in. They're Asian chilies. Indians and Asian people really like them, and they are hot. Yeah. They will take the skin right off your tongue. Earlier they planted tomatoes. We've got several beds of tomatoes of different varieties. And I was just doing a quick figure. We've got 333 tomato plants in right now.
Wow.
And a whole lot more to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who composes your crew here? Who are the guys we're looking at?
These guys are employed through Workplace Investment Solutions. It's a little bit of the stimulus money that was left over from last year. Unfortunately, it runs out at the end of June. They don't get a full summer's employment off this.
Okay.
It was a summer youth employment program from last year, and they're just trying to spend the rest of that money while it's available.
So these are federal dollars that come from Washington and they funnel through to Decatur.
Right, right, and it worked.
Putting people to work.
Last year we went through 14 people, and they worked all summer long. So it was money well spent.
14 jobs came to Decatur.
14 jobs, that's right. It was didn't pay a lot. It was young people between the ages of 16 and 24, but it was money that they got to spend how they wanted to, and it came in real handy for a lot of them.
We were talking about that stimulus package. 14 guys got employed last summer.
Some of those kids were going back to school. They needed the money for school supplies and clothes. Of course, video games, telephones, whatever they wanted to spend that money on. It was money that they didn't have, and then through the program, they ended up with some wages, and it really worked well.